Hello, always glad to have you join us. This is Platform. I'm Ruth Aguele. The idea of infusing entrepreneurship into education has sparked much concerns. Why is it relevant to society? When applied or not, and how it should be applied? In Nigeria today, school leavers, including university graduates in their millions, roam the streets searching for non-existing collar jobs. It has become increasingly difficult for school leavers from all levels of education to transit from school to wage earning. Employers of labor, talking about public and private, now shortlist only first, second class upper earners for possible employment. That's if you're lucky to be among the number. Thus leading to high rate of unemployment, which keeps mounting as much students graduate annually. It is in the light of this that stakeholders in the education sector are making case for entrepreneurship education in the nation's school curriculum, which scholars strongly believe to be one of the ways to reduce high unemployment rate in the country by equipping students with skills that will make them truly self-reliant and self-sustaining. You know, when young people are educated and trained, they become creative, innovative, visionary, resourceful, confident, and courageous to engage in business ventures, as well as take the risk involved. Much would largely be achieved through well-planned, structured, and well-implemented entrepreneurship education. But this requires appropriate funding mechanisms that has to be adopted into the country for effective and efficient planning, implementation, and sustainability of entrepreneurship education. Our focus on Platform is entrepreneurship financing model for education, and our guest is Professor Zakariau Olalekon Busra. He is a professor of entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor Olalekon.
It's my pleasure meeting you this hour. And I'm glad to be invited here to speak with Nigerians.
All right, so we have a panelist. Just before we introduce him, we'll take you through the profile of our guest, which is part of our tradition on the program. Professor Olalekon is a professor of entrepreneurship, already established that. He's also a professor for e-business, experienced business consultant with more than 15 years experience in the field of business operations. He is a committed business expert who has proven history of aiding and significantly improving the efficiency and success of numerous businesses, both locally and internationally. He is the immediate past head of Department of Entrepreneurship at the Federal University of Technology, Mina, that is Niger State. He has worked as a consultant for both public and private and multinational organizations. Some of these include the German Technical Corporation, which is now GES, World Bank Massachusetts, Institute of Technology, Launch X Club Mentor, Central Bank of Nigeria, the Industrial Training Fund, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and others. He's recently on appointment as Coordinator Africa Innovative Program. That is a program that is sponsored by International Islamic Economic Organization, Economic and Sailor Academy, that is in the United States of America. Very impressive, your profile, Prof. Well done.
Thank you.
All right, now we introduce our panelists. Olayinka Ojo, education correspondent. You're back again on Platform. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure being on the program.
All right. So we're discussing, Prof, entrepreneurship financing model for education. When we say entrepreneurship financing, or let's start from the basic now. Yeah. Entrepreneurship education. Yeah. Break it down for us. You are schooling us, you're a prof in that aspect, so school us.
Yes, all the ways that we want to discuss are not new to us.
Yes.
But the problem or the challenges we may have has to do with the understanding.
Yes.
As we have said, let's start with entrepreneurship.
Yes. When we know entrepreneurship education.
Yes. By the time you want to marry one with each other,
yes,
it's like we are saying a beautiful girl. When you say a beautiful girl, for instance, it speaks a lot.
Yes.
So first of all, you need to know who is a girl. Then by the time you now say, okay, now a beautiful girl, it will be more clearer to any person listening to you.
Go ahead, please.
So let me put it this way. Education, we all know about it. It's all about learning and usage of thought. That is basic about education. That is why literacy is different from education. We have seen a scenario where people are called or referred to as educated, but eventually we see that the usage is not there. He cannot practice what he has. So yes. It's not education. Yeah. That is why we are able to differentiate it from, or label it as functioning education. So any thought that is not put into practice is not education. And that is why we see it as solution to every societal problem. Are you educated? Because any person educated, that got it right to be educated, such a person can never be a specimen or any tools that will destroy.
Yeah.
Now let's now add entrepreneurship education. So we believe that things move from time to time. Things keep on changing. The way I dress now, it may be, some people may say, this is, you are coming back to the traditional. But the core traditional people will still observe that there is an element of innovation in the dressing, just like you as well.
Yes.
So trends, things move from one level to the other. Things are changing. So let us now see how innovative could education be. How creative we can create within the education something that can match up with the situation on the ground. That is the involvement of entrepreneurship education.
Okay. Sorry, talking about education.
Yes.
Must it be formal or informal?
Education is one. It's unfortunately that it's a siege mentality where we said an education is formal or one education is informal. It's just, they just want us to cram that. There's nothing like informal or formal. In the sense that, let's see it, the gadget before when we started education is, my own is slate. We use slate and we use chalk to write. Then it is a form we can refer to as formal. But today, anybody using slate or whatever that one, we say no. You have to, now is even my classes, I don't talk much. I use videos. I use game to teach some of my topics. So it means if we are considering something formal or informal, somebody can be observing some things. It is still a formal education. It's still formalized. We can formalize it. But for the fact that we are now putting something in a corner of classroom, then we now say this one is not formal, it's an informal education. It's a very wrong, it's a siege mentality.
Okay, it's good you mentioned the classroom because that will form the basis of this conversation. We're talking about education now, but it has to do with entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Why is it so relevant that we should have this entrepreneurship education in our school's curriculum?
Yes, just the way I mentioned in the remark now. You see, things keep on changing. When I was born 75, that is just reality. I'm 48 years old. Nigeria then, how many states when I was born? Now we have 36 states in Nigeria. You imagine numbers of local governments. Things have changed in terms of demand and supply. This is how we look at it in an economic world. We are not meeting up with the demand. Society has changed. So now entrepreneurship education comes in to see why is the gap? Why is it that some years back, you graduate, you get a job? It's demand and supply. Nothing more than that. Because the demand is higher than supply. It's a basic something. One does not need to go to university to understand demand and supply. Unfortunately, as we are moving from thousands to millions, we could not meet up with this demand. And that is what we quote, unquote, unemployment. There are employment. There are jobs. I do tell my students there are jobs. But as I'm mentioning that people do not understand, they don't have education. If you have the functional education we are talking about, whether in the classroom or even in your room, my grandmom taught me education, entrepreneurship education. It's an unlettered person. Nobody can call her uneducated. I will slap the person if I have the opportunity. But what I'm saying is that she could not read and write. but she's educated. Up to the time that she died at almost 80 years, she still functioned to feed herself and to help the community where she lives. Then, so in essence, what we consider as classroom is still siege. I'm still mentioning that siege mentality because your classroom can be your room, can be in your family house, can be in the church, can be in the mosque. I've traveled to some countries of the world. They don't have what they call school other than the mosque. Saudi Arabia is one of it. So entrepreneurship education is something that delivers with relevant to time and situations you find yourself. Within this time of 1 hour, when I entered this place, this is, I'm not used to this, your headquarters. I've seen entrepreneurship. I've seen changes. This is not maybe a few years back. There's nothing like this. So definitely the numbers of demand for jobs in NTA has increased because you are having these so-called modern technology studios and so on. It means numbers of offices have increased. You have to employ more and more. This is entrepreneurship education. Whatever that can matches the situation to provide solutions is what we do. Because the entrepreneurship, when I start now, the entrepreneur is one. Sheep that we are talking about is another one.
Yeah.
So they merge it together. Then we need to now fertilize our mind that every place where you find yourself, there is entrepreneurship there. This table.
And it all has to do with ideas, Olayinka.
Yes.
Okay.
So, at what level of education do you think one is supposed to be exposed to entrepreneurial skills?
Yes. You know,
is it just the tertiary education,
no,
secondary or primary education?
You know, our Yoruba, we say that igitoba tigbe koseka. That is to say, a dry stick, you cannot bend it again.
Yes.
It's a failure to think that as tertiary institution, that is when we should come into our entrepreneurship. It's a very wrong time. It's a very, very wrong time. If any country is interested in to solve problem of unemployment, charity begins at home. And I'm telling you with all my exposure, little exposure and experiences, which I can say it can deliver. Nigeria needs to take it from the grassroots. We started entrepreneurship. Don't be surprised when we were in primary school.
I remember in secondary school, I was taught how to weave, how to use the calabash.
Why do you stop it?
Prof, I haven't said I stopped it.
No, okay. Now, yes, because now if you are weaving, do you weave in secondary school?
That was in secondary school. I was
Did you weave in primary school?
No.
No. You at tertiary, do you weave?
No.
If that is your talent, is gone already.
Yeah.
Maybe you are employers of laborers, thousands. Straw, you will all know straw.
Yes.
I was in Bahrain for entrepreneurship, World Entrepreneurship Program in Bahrain. When we got there, Uganda, the people from Uganda, they came to display what they had entrepreneurship products. Straw, the straw that you know, that we throw away after, is what they use. Any sort of bags you can, including your ecolag that you normally say, bring ecolag for wedding. They use straw to weave bags like that. School bags, everything. From waste
to wealth.
To wealth. That is circular economy for you. Yeah. This is entrepreneurship we are talking about. But what does it take for you to wait for me until when I become a graduate, then you now say at NYC I should come and learn a skill. It's a skill that I can learn between 1 to 6. If Nigeria really means well, that we really want to tackle entrepreneurship, let me tell you, age counts. Between 1 and 6. In Malaysia, you can never enter primary school until when you are 6 years old. I stand to be corrected by any person. I was there, I schooled there, sponsored by Nigeria. I didn't go for only PhD. I went there and I secure. Why have they left us behind? 2 years old boy, child now, you are taking the person when they cannot even recognize. So what we are saying in essence is that at our level, charity begins from the beginning. So from the beginning, so we need to understand that primary school entrepreneurship education is vital. Primary school entrepreneurship education is vital. That is the foundation is very important.
Yes.
Once you miss foundation, what are you chasing? So we are coming to practical because I love illustrations. I love so much illustrations. Look at our primary school. There is a day declared. For boys, we go to farm. For girls, there is a center. They call it center. All our girls that time, they move them to a center to learn a skill. Do we have it again? This is a point. We started by recognizing this, the real thing in life. But there's no continuity. When you start something, this handset that you see, whatever, is they call it there's A1, A12, A14, etc. They are the continuity. But when you, by saying that this one no more, you want to start from the beginning again, where is the focus?
You know, continuity, like you said, it has to also do with sustainability. You start something, you should be able to sustain it.
Yes.
And if we want to look at the foundation to the secondary and then the tertiary level, we could still say all hope is not lost. Because whether we like it or not, the skills will always be there. The human resource will always be there. But what is important is opportunities. How can schools or what should be done for society to embrace these opportunities, staring us in the face? Okay.
Thank God you are asking on how. The 6 W's that we all know is what, when, where, also, etc. But how its own W is at the end of the letters. The end letter W means that the how is the most serious and significant one amongst them. It differentiates itself. So if we want to get it right, it's on how, which you asked me. How? It starts with mindset.
Yes.
Let us have something that will let people reset their mind right from primary school. That is what my grandma did for me. 70-30 rule. Every person that knows me from my home community, I started entrepreneurship right from primary school. 70-30 rule. If you want to go to your father, don't go and request for 10 naira. Go with 7 naira and let your father have 3 naira. Say, Alaji, that is how I call my dad. I need 10 naira, but I have 7 naira. Willingly, happily, he will give me. That is entrepreneurship right from the beginning. Because that is why, do you still have a grandma and grandpa? Native intelligence is what can deliver mindset. Okay. It's not artificial.
Okay, today we see most tertiary institutions saying they have diverse entrepreneurial centers. Yeah. Yet we still import jobs. We still import labor. Yes. Is it that these centers are not working? Or is it because they never learned these skills or acquired these skills?
You are going to the formative you are going to a very fundamental thing again, and I will say the truth. I was one time a director of entrepreneurship. In fact, I opened the Center of Entrepreneurship in my tertiary institution as the first director to open the door, after when it was built by TED Fund. I'm still going back to that word. Don't take it from the head. Take it from the grassroots. Mindset. People understanding of entrepreneurship, people thought it's just having a center, as having a block, call a center. Then people should come and learn skills. There is a book, Mindset. Just mindset.
There must be that reorientation.
There must be orientation. Yes. And orientation is not 2 credit unit course. Now we are engaging ourselves to say that entrepreneurship, when we have it at the beginning of 300 level, then the final one at 500 level, the other one at maybe final year, 2 credit unit course. That is not entrepreneurship education. Entrepreneurship education is so vital that it's beyond 2 credit, 3 credit unit course. But let me give you the short answer to that. You see, centers should have minimum of 6M that we all know about management. Who are the men that will facilitate the centers? We are talking about credible, competent people. Go to centers, the so-called entrepreneurship centers across the countries. Are the men working there competent to pass the message of entrepreneurship? How many entrepreneurship educators do we have in Nigeria? Minimum.
That's a gap.
That's a serious gap.
That is already, you know, adding to the number of the unemployment we're talking about. But, yeah. Prof, we're looking at solutions now because the main goal to achieve this is how to correct these anomalies.
Okay.
And we have this youth out there, a lot of them, who are talented. They're just waiting for opportunity. And some of them, you teach them these skills, is, you know, the right opportunity to leverage on.
They are the same opportunity we are talking about. They should not look for opportunity. This is where we normally have arguments. Why are you seeking for opportunity when you yourself, you are an opportunity? I don't know whether you get this message.
Explain it to the
Let me explain so that everybody will get it
okay.
right. You are pursuing something, maybe within your country or outside the country. I'm looking for opportunity to the basic needs of human being are spelled out. It's not something difficult. Food, shelter, and etc.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we say we are looking for a means. Don't forget, we are looking for means to satisfy the needs.
Yes.
And that is what we call job.
Yes.
It's a means to an end, not an end itself. Now, you yourself, everything begins from self. You need to first and foremost understand yourself. Nigerians need to understand themselves because they are the same opportunity we are talking about. Why is it that some countries are saying, let us exchange Nigeria? Let Nigeria move to the developed country and let them come here. And then we turn it around after 10 years. Whether we are going to say we are coming back to Nigeria. We have countries of the world that, Nigeria, okay, let me give you a point here. You see, now we are discussing about jobs. How many jobs, there's an aspect of entrepreneurship we call corporate entrepreneurship. How many jobs as maybe periodically in NTA have you created? This is holiday program now. This is holiday time in Nigeria. NTA can create as many as possible jobs for secondary school who are on holiday and primary school. Why? At this NTA, do you know how many primary school we have in the whole country and how many secondary school? If you are now saying you are starting with entrepreneurship education and orientation to set the minds of these pupils and students, do you know how many philanthropists and people that gives grants
okay,
will give to you?
If I will come in there, we have the NTA knowledge that handles everything education.
But I didn't see any primary school pupils.
You're not watching NTA knowledge.
No, what I mean, I love that. You push it to me.
Yes.
It's watching you are talking about.
Yes.
That means they will be at some places.
Our job is to
There's
provide...
no light. They are not watching it. That is you see, we are not tackling. Okay, you are saying I'm not watching. No, when there's no light,
Prof, sorry, Prof, if I will come in here, what I'm trying to say is that there's a platform NT has already created to engage when it comes to education and all of that.
Yes.
That's the NTA knowledge.
I love that.
So let's leave NTA out of it. Let's focus on the main crux
I know
of the
it's
matter.
always, when you hit somebody, they will say, where are you hitting
NTA is already playing its role.
NTA is doing, like now you have invited me.
Yes.
If all Nigerians or reasonable numbers of people will be able to watch this whenever you disseminate the information,
yes,
that will have been a thumb up. Because if it ends that we finish it here, and aggregate numbers of Nigerians could not access it because of electricity infrastructure, the aim is not optimally achieved.
That's the opportunity if I want to pick up from there. Olenka, sorry, just
collaborators.
Yes, okay. That's the opportunity. You talked about the individual being the opportunity.
Yes.
Now, you notice a gap in society.
Yes.
You step in and fill up that gap.
Thank you.
Renewable energy could be a solution to the electricity problem, which young people are trained on. So I get your point. Olanka, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to add, because I know NTA knowledge at present, most schools are having summer holidays, summer lessons, summer camps, and I think NTA knowledge, they've been visiting schools.
They're engaging them.
No, they've been doing that.
In the rural areas?
No. Even rural, urban, they've been visiting schools.
That means I will clap for you.
Please do. We deserve the applause.
Okay, I will clap when I see your KPI.
Okay.
Key Performance Index.
Okay.
Okay, funny enough, my boy, who is just 6, is learning how to bake.
Thank you.
At present.
Thank you. And you should now set up a setup program for him in order not just to acquire the knowledge. You know, I mentioned education is research.
Yeah.
Please and please, the young boy, make sure that you catalyze his effort by supporting him.
So, Prof, and one thing I noticed, thank God we said this is the holiday period where schools engage in summer classes, even churches, mosques, you know, people just do this as part of free will and commitment to empower these children, even at the foundation level. Beyond the summertime, what would be your recommendation as, you know, progressing it into the curriculum? I know some schools are already doing that, but not everything, like the baking, and they do that in home economics and all of that, but sustainability is what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me give 3 recommendations so that we'll be able to see the direction clearly. Beyond the summer period or the holiday period that we are, let's our educational system at both primary and secondary school, you know, we teach and we examine. Examinations should not be paper-based any longer. It should be reduced into activities-based. People cram at the end of the exam. You see them with their materials. They left their materials. They will leave their materials inside the hall. And somebody will score, hey, 2-1, 1-1, 2-2. And the same person is telling you that there's no job. That is why I say he himself is not an opportunity. He's now looking for what he has. He has been taught, and he passed, and he's looking for a job. No. Why is that learning does not take place? Learning must take place, and it will be experiential. You mentioned GIZ as part of my consultancy, GIZ. It was GTZ before. In 2008, I'm not trying to, Nigerian university system, especially federal university, we benefited tremendously.
Okay, Prof, I'll hold your thoughts there because we have to take this break.
Okay.
We'll be back. Please don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
What are we doing as a nation to, first of all, settle our teeming populace, especially the
NTA's political package with a third eye on the nation's political scene. I am Fisa Ogunfuyi. Welcome.
You have to be very careful giving space to people who are obviously sponsored to further the agenda of some other groups.
There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions in a closed door sessions. Some of these issues, some of the problems bedeviling of their.
In fact, between June 1st and July 17, 19-point-something billion has left the coffers of the NDDC.
I can say my constituency, they need everything because we don't have anything.
Fellow Nigerians, to work for you, how to improve your welfare and living condition is of paramount importance to me, and it is the only thing that keeps me up day and night.
Welcome back. It's still platform, and we're discussing entrepreneurship financing model for education. Prof, you are giving us a breakdown on how the sustainability aspect of this entrepreneurship education can be sustained. But I'd like to delve into one critical aspect, funding. This is all about financing. Aside the individual that wants to become an entrepreneur, that has the idea, he still requires funding. That school that wants to sustain that program still requires parents or guardians to pay to sustain that. So financing cannot be taken out of the whole system if we're talking entrepreneurship education.
Thank you.
All right.
Financing model, entrepreneurship financing model, I just want us to see it from the angles of players.
Okay.
Who are players that fund enterprises? It's not only government. I remember maybe one of my presentation like this, I talk about 3 F's. The families, the friends, and the fools. This is a model of financing businesses. I've never mentioned banks here. I'm talking about family. My own side, I have family that I can say from my matriarchal side, my father's side, my wife's side. They can be a player to sponsor, to fund. Do not give a room for only government or so-called formal funding system. No. From the beginning of my life up to my PhD, is public school I went to. Then, who are responsible for my funding? My parents, my relatives. Some relative is not money they will give. I'm praying for some of my aunties. Whenever I'm going to school, you know, this grandpapa, all these, the so-called Ila in Yoruba is what? Okra. This is their support. When we are talking about funding, it's what we need. I'm a farmer. I'm a castor oil farmer. I have castor plantation. And I don't have land. I found this particular something through friends and family. I called one of my ex-students, who is a very serious type. He was the class rep then. And then another thing we monitor. I monitor him, he's doing well. I call him. Beyond salaries, because since 2016, I've told myself, suppose there is no this job I'm doing, what test will I be doing? I have to ask myself critical questions. Out of 4 years they gave me to go and study PhD. I finished in 3 years, and I reserve 1 year for thinking. What will I do if there is no any government job again? And it came. 8 months salaries. No university were paid for 8 months. Then what am I eating if I'm not doing something entrepreneurial? So what I'm saying is that I called my ex-student. He's a friend. I said, sit down. The third richest crop in the whole world is castor. And everywhere in Nigeria we can plant it. But I don't have land. He said, I have land. I have land that I inherited. It's also place. It's also numbers of hectares of land. This is your equity. He donated land because factors of productions are only 4. Entrepreneurship, which we always say is the last one. The first one is king. Now, land, labor, capital. I have brought an idea, which is entrepreneurship. He said he has land. Then where is the capital? A friend who has tractors said, you have land, me, I have tractors. His own equity is to go and clear the land. He works with his own contribution 5 days, 24 acres of land, where we started as the first plantation A. I have plantation here, I have B. I'm moving on to C. So somebody donated land, somebody donated capital. Because what is capital? People always say it's Naira and Kobo. No. What do you want to use Naira and Kobo for? It is then you now know it's not money. It's what you mean. One currency is money that we always talk. It's a means. That is not the real thing. Schools in Nigeria, quote me anywhere, every public schools, primary, secondary, tertiary, they have land that I can say 70% are not being used in Nigeria.
Yes, it's one thing to have access to funding or funds.
Yeah.
It's another thing to have what they call financial literacy.
Yes.
Where does this?
It is part of this knowledge that we should know what we want to use money for. That is the beginning of financial literacy. So that we not be saying, I need 10,000, I need 100 million. That is why I have not started the job. Break it down. When you break it down, ask yourself, what did I have at the moment? I have this. Ask your closest, maybe your parents, this is what we want to do. Where is your own contribution? What can you do for me? I have uncles. Let me be sincere with you. That's why the only thing that can make me to be fulfilled in life is helping people. Because I've been helped. I'm a product of help. From the beginning of my life up to this stage. Surrounded by a very good ecosystem. Where every person, every player plays their role. So financial literacy starts from what do you want to use the money for? It is then you'll be able to break it down to now see which aspects of this, what you want to use money for, you are lacking.
And again, Prof, from what Olayinka has just brought up, this financial literacy still requires skills for those people, talking about the entrepreneurs, to understand the financial literacy. Because whether the capital is in physical cash or non-physical cash, yes, you still need that literacy.
Thank you.
So where do they draw the skills from?
Yes, we draw these, you see, I said about native intelligence here. You know, Nigeria, when I say coding, people are, you can make it through coding, you can do it, do this. I'm not saying it's not. But start from native. Yes, your domestic brain be working domestically. There's nothing bad in there. You are thinking traditionally. Is tradition not good enough? Financial literacy starts from, don't pursue your want, pursue your needs. There's dichotomy between wants and needs. If Nigerians can quickly say, this is what we really need, quote me anywhere, funding is not an issue. Because most of what we say, we always claim for, that we are seeking for, we don't need it. We want to set up a farm. We need land, fine. Must you take money from the bank to go and buy a land? Must you buy? There's what we call virtual entrepreneurship. That is any moribund enterprises that are dead. Go and I've moved around Nigeria. I think it remains only 3 states I've never been to in Nigeria. Wasted lands. Must you farm in your own area? Can't you move to another area where land? 2009. I love illustrations. I was in Sombi. I headed a team. I was the lead of the team on GIZ, baseline study for Niger State. When we got there, a policeman who resigned from police told us that he was punished from Lagos, then he was transferred to Niger State. Niger State, you know the landmass, I don't need to be talking here.
Yeah.
One of the Meangua where he was living, gave him land. This smart guy, that is why Lagosian, 1 + 1 is 11. He started farming pepper and tomatoes. After when he harvested it, he didn't sell it in Niger. Don't sell where you produce. He moved it to Lagos. After he earned millions, he resigned. This is true life story. So Nigerians should be able to understand this very well by saying what we actually need is in our midst. Don't be deceived by copy and paste of where they will say, we should go to the bank. I'm not trying to say that. Before that, there are a lot of things we are leaving behind. Okay. So I want you to advise Nigerians now.
Prof, that's why you are here. You are the one to advise Nigerians. Our job is to ask you. You are the one to...
So my advice for Nigerians is that, first of all, they should be able to know the difference between want and need. And they should be able to know that what they need is in their midst. Don't do copy and paste. That is what wrecked this country for us. They are doing this in China, and we want to be doing it. We will leave our own legacy, our own opportunities. We are leaving them behind. What is so bad in Nigeria? Producing socks. Do you know in my own school, we have 25,000 undergraduate students. An enterprise that will generate 1,000 naira on each of these 25 is 25 million naira in a month. ABU has almost 100,000 undergraduate plus postgraduate. University of Ibadan, but tell me one enterprise in these universities that cater for a particular product that serve the needs of the student.
So why are the schools, why are these institutions
not
catching on this opportunity?
Yes, exactly. That is why the gap is entrepreneurship educators are not enough. How many of us? And when I'm talking about, it's not degree. There are old women. I'm just coming from Makurdi now, where I saw how people that are not educated at all are processing ginger. And they call their children. We have granted this ginger. Please, I don't go to school, but I know what ginger serves. Write it and let us produce a paper, a label. Somebody you sponsor to go to school should be able to help his or her mother to write, when you communicate, you put it on paper. With your technology or whatever you believe that you have, can't you roll out a label for your parents?
It takes us back to charity begins at home, which you mentioned.
I've told you, and that is why I don't want to say much, that I'm a practical person.
We have seen that demonstrated.
My grandmom prepared akamu. And whenever I am assisting her to take the liquid, the akamu, to the shop, my own dividend is that the dusa, that is the waste, I rear animals. My grandma faithfully surrendered that one for me, that this is your own. I use it to feed my animal because I'm supporting her, and she's also supporting me in my animal rearing. Charity, entrepreneurship, I never know is going to be something that the whole world will be talking about. That is why I don't use book to teach it. I can explain for every bit of it, because charity begins at home. Parents now, they should learn parenting, especially our own generations. Let our kids be going to this grandpa, grandma. Let them know their basic, where they were born. There are cultural entrepreneurship which can set their mind that they will never. I know some friends. There is no how you talk about government job. Wallahi, they will not answer you.
Olayinka, go ahead.
Yes. From all you've said, are you advocating that some of these aged parents who are not lettered,
yes, are
you advocating that they should come into school
to teach topics, to teach some topics?
Because I needed to get that clear.
Yeah, that is it. That is what I said. Is no, we are not enough.
So they should come to the institutions.
That is why I call them players, industry players. They are in the industry. We have no.
So
let them come and teach us the basic, the root, the basic of what we need to know.
Who is going to employ them is the question.
This is what I'm saying. That is why now I love where you are pushing me to, and I will be pushing it back to you. Who is to pay them? Is everybody that asks you for payment? Must you pay by money? Is NTA paying me by money? But you are paying me in kind because my visibility is getting higher. I've seen where after this lecture like this, people call me.
Prof,
people look for my contact.
Prof, it's a good point Olayinka has brought. And
kind and cash.
Yes, for the direction you're going, it's all about creating solutions. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about, creating solutions. Even if we're looking at having these parents come into the system, the education system, educated or not, it still would take a lot of orientation from persons like you who understand the nitty-gritty of this whole initiative and the benefit of it. How are you pushing or advocating among scholars like you?
Thank you. Let me first of all mention somebody that you know for Adire that I wear. I know you know Mama Nike.
Yes.
Is Mama Nike a graduate?
No.
Is Mama Nike a doctor? Is he a professor? But he's a professor on that field.
Yes.
He should come and teach.
That's why I say, how are you advocating that?
Now, how I started, I did my PhD on artisans, automobile artisanship. That is what I did my PhD. My focus is on artisans because I realized that the first 1,000 naira note was given to me by an artisan who is a friend. So I respect that particular cluster of economy very well. I respect the artisans. So the first way I did it is that I moved closer to them. And I told them that what I realized about them is that there is no database. I did a workshop for Niger State, automobile workers, mechanics as we normally call them. Let have values to what they have. You know, the 5 or 7 P's of marketing, product, pricing, promotion, etc. that we have. Some people, they have the product, but they don't know how to promote themselves. But we that we know how to promote them, we support them. So advocacy now, the strategy for advocacy is that let us be having a good relationship with each other. In Nigeria, if I'm just coming from Makodi, I enter a public transport. There and there, I let them know, this is me, jokingly. If you want to learn anything in entrepreneurship, I think I'm here voluntarily. When I was going yesterday, when I was coming today, I've touched people's life by understanding what we call entrepreneurship. Advocacy is not only when we say, come. Wherever we are, wherever we find ourselves, advocacy program continues. At least, I read a book in 2011 titled, I Never Knew I Had a Choice. That is the title of the book. One of the sections of the book is, a day spent helping no one is a day wasted. A day spent helping no one is a day wasted. Advocacy program. Make sure that in every day you talk, even if it's one word somebody learn from you, pass it to another person. Yeah. It's a relay something. Okay. Drop it.
Well, we have to wind up, but Olanka, do you have a final question? Okay, you don't. So, Prof, yes. I know the vision for Nigeria is great. We have to keep hope alive, you know. If we don't picture it that it's going to be great, then it won't be.
Yeah, it will be.
So, entrepreneurs play very significant role in nation building, yes. Whether as a young person or an older person. What is your vision, you know, in that area? What do you want to see change for the better?
I want to see...
Very briefly.
Yeah,
Prof.
very brief.
No practicals.
No, this time around is collaboration.
Okay.
I want to see the vision of Nigeria coming to reality very soon when we collaborate.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yes, collaborate, synergy. No entity in Nigeria can do it alone. Let's support each other. Let us have partnership. I love partnership because what you don't see, other people will see it. Yeah. My own weakness is your own strength. Yes. Your own strength is my own weakness. But when we put it together, we move forward. Collaborations, entities, organizations in Nigeria, they cannot stand alone. I'm saying it, for instance, this is an information entity and communication entity, NTA. Collaborate. Ask how many collaborators you'll be having.
All right.
And the mark of whatever institutions we ask with KPI, how many collaborators do you have?
Prof, let's leave it there. Thank you so much. I know you're so passionate about this. May you continue to do the good work you're doing, and we wish you the very best. Thank you so much. Professor Olalekan Busra. He's a professor. Sakariao. He wants me to learn that. Sakariao. Okay, he's a professor of entrepreneurship. Thank you for your time on platform. Olanka Ojo, always a pleasure to have you on platform. Thank you. All right, we've been discussing entrepreneurship financing model for education. There's a whole lot that has been said. The only thing left is for you to take that opportunity staring at you in the face and make good use of it. And let's add value to our existence. That's Platform. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.